All right, so as you can see here, this is pretty much all I have been getting in from China the last month and a half. Due to the popularity of the Atlantis tank, obviously you see all these companies now come into the market, which means that there's a huge demand for this, and there's nothing wrong with it. People that enjoy vaping and at 0.5 sub-ohming, doing it in a safe way, using devices that can handle these type of tanks. And if that's the way that you like to vape, fantastic. It's just not for me, especially with my all-day vape, something I'm going to talk a little bit when we go back to the top camera. But what launched all of this? This brilliant coil design here. This is the, from the Atlantis, from Aspire. That vertical coil design is pretty much what all of these tanks use, no matter where they come from. Starting from the top left, we have the Heracles by Sense. We have the Donner by Ichiwa. New company, never heard of them before. They do all the OEM for smoke and vapor. We have here the Eco Tank by Heat Vape. That's the company that makes the Defender. And of course, the Mellow by E-Leaf. Once again, one thing that you're going to see common here, they all pretty much use the same style coil. In fact, the Atlantis or the coils that come with these can be mixed and matched. And in some cases, they flat out use the Atlantis coil. Of course, with your organic cotton, the vertical build inside of the coil, we see some parallel builds coming in now in some of these coils that you can crank them up to 70, 80, and 100 watts in some cases. But, for me, it's just way too hot. One of the things that I do want to show you is on this tank here, which I found was pretty interesting. Never heard of this company, by the way. The Ichiwa with a donor. What they have done on their coil, it's going to be very hard to see. There you go. They have a little mesh surrounding the holes, and then the cotton is on the inside. That way, I think what they did that is to kind of throttle the juice that's coming in. That way you don't get a lot of that spit back or overfeeding of your coil. Works pretty good, though. I've been able to crank this up to about 60, 70 watts. It does have just one airflow coming in, and you'll see there you can shut off the airflow completely and go back there and open it up. It is pretty wide, though. See that slot there? There's just a lot of air coming in. The Heracles, which again was hyped up a lot, has just a little different design. It has these fins here on the bottom. Again, the airflow coming in from there. Just a little, mix and match for the look, trying to cut down on the heat that the coil's created down here. That's another tank that you can crank up pretty high. But once again, the same type of coil down there on the bottom. Stainless steel construction. It looks pretty good. The Eco Tank, this one uses the Atlantis coils, and it has a stainless steel sleeve, kind of like the Silo by Beyond Vape. That gives you a little bit more of protection for your tank. All of these are about between 2.8 and 3.2 mil capacity. And of course, the Mellow Yellow. A little different airflow design there. It has a little stopper to catch it if you want to turn your airflow. 2 holes and 2 holes there. And again, 2 holes here, 2 holes there on the Eco Tank. I will give you a brief look of the Atlantis version 2. I will try to do a full review on this by itself because I think it deserves it. I think this is what set everything off. I think this was the innovative product. And now the other companies, there might be some other tanks that are coming out that are better than the Atlantis. But this is what got everybody started. We have the airflow adjustment here on the bottom. It does have a little click now when you come around. It just clicks into place. We have some airflow up on the drip tip, so you can actually obstruct the air. Keeps things a little bit cooler up there on the mouth tip. And that goes all the way around. And let me go ahead and show you the coil. I haven't filled this up yet, but I have been using the bigger version of this tank. I actually got this when I went to China, so I've been using this version of the tank. Just kind of testing it out. So let's go ahead and remove the coil from the middle. They will be having some lower resistances as well. And there you go. Much of the same. This one is 0.3 ohms. All right, let's get some vaping. All right, gotta drink some water in between these takes. So anyway, let's go ahead and start with the Heracles by Sense. This is on a Hexome box mod. I've got it set about 5 volts. I've been able to crank it all the way up. It's just a cloud monster. It puts out a lot of vapor, and it works pretty good, especially at some higher wattages. All these juices about 70% VG. All of them 3 milligram and below. Crazy, I tell you. All right, this is the Eco Tank. By the way, vapes like the Atlantis. I mean, it's the same type of draw. It's the same type of muted flavor for me with these big vertical coils with a huge airflow in the middle. Vapes like the Atlantis. That's what I can tell you. All right, Eco Tank. I've got this cranked up to about 30 watts. As you can see, this room is getting cloudy up here. Vapes kind of like the Atlantis. Gotta be honest with you. The Mellow by E-Leaf, again, a little bit of a different design. I really like the ridges that are on this top and bottom cap. I think it gives it for a nice little look. And it'll probably look really good on a stainless steel mech as well. Again, 30 watts here on the MVP3. Ooh, that's a menthol right there. Whew. Posted that on my Instagram as well. Quick review. Vapes like the Atlantis. Now to the Donor by Ichiwa. I just like saying Ichiwa. Have it cranked here to 40 watts on a DNA 40 device. This one, just like the Heracles, I've been able to crank it a little bit higher, 60, 70 watts without burning anything. This one I've been enjoying a little bit better if you don't like that spit back that you get in some of these coils. I think that little mesh that they put around the coil has throttled the e-liquid and how fast it goes inside the coil. You know, if I had to pick flavor-wise from all the 4, I would say this has a slight edge. Again, the flavor for me comes out muted. All of this because of the Atlantis. And this is just a small sample. I mean, there's at least another 6-7 tanks either already on the market or they're coming. I know Inikin's putting out the iSub, another sub-ohm tank there on the market. So a lot of these coming out simply because of the demand. But keep in mind, I think what's going to boil down to is pretty much aesthetics and maybe price. These coils are expensive, so you want to find something that works well for you, looks good on your device. You like that style of vaping, you can't go wrong. And just a little PSA here is that you have to make sure that you're well aware of what battery you're going to be using, what type of device. Find your sweet spot, but do it safely. And definitely try not to use these tanks with hybrid mechanical connections. We've seen a couple of examples in the past. Some of them have made national media where they've been shorted out on the top. So try to read up on them as much as you can. Try to get all the safety information before you start using these sub-ohm tanks. And innovation, is it? Or just taking an existing tank and changing around a little bit the configuration of the tank? To me, that's what it is. You might not agree with me, but that is strictly my opinion. And it's also not the way that I vape. So I don't feel it's fair to sit there and individually do a review on each one of these, since I'm probably, I don't know, am I the only mouth-to-lung inhaler left in the vaping community? I might be. But as more as these sub-ohm tanks come out, to me, I like to just put them next to each other, vape on them for a little bit, and then just kind of give you a general idea maybe when 3 or 4 are collected all together. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this video up. It's kind of funny, the most unknown tank from the bunch, I've never heard of this company before, has the slight edge on flavor. Slight. Obviously, I can't vape like this all the time. I am living dangerously here at 11.8 watts with a 1.2 ohm build on my K-Fun.